Welcome back everybody, and we are going to talk about if you should summon on the new GPL2 banner along with the Char's Zaku to the Origin and the, however you pronounce that, Albion. And I'll just sum it up right here. The short answer: I do think you should summon, but only if you really like UC suits and if you want to make your life a little bit easier during the Rivals Eternal Road, because these two are really useful for that. So let's just get into it. I do think this banner has a lot more value than the Zeta banner. This is also a limited banner as well. You have the supporter GPL2, the attacker Char Zaku 2, the new ship, Gundam EZA for some random reason, and 2 free new SSRs, along with 1 new pilot. Pilots are always nice to have, and unlike in the Zeta banner where it was only 3 URs, this one has 4, but you could argue that the free extra SSRs might be a little bit worth it if you're a collector and like variety. So let's get into it. Let's go with the main headliner, Gundam GP02A. This is its full stats. Let's get out the full, well, I guess you can check that. Let me see its animation actually. That's pretty cool. Here's its full stats. Let's go to the site to look at its non-limit break stats, because let's be honest, most of us don't well, so I am only going to look at the level 100 no dupe version. It has really solid stats for a supporter. The attack is honestly pretty low for a supporter, but I think that's to balance it out because of its map attack. It is probably the best map attack. You could even argue the best map attack in the whole game. Really good tags, rival, really solid for the Eternal Road, test type for the ship, tough as nails, Xeon, Gundam, UC series, pretty solid tags. Atomic Bazooka, which like I said, probably the best map attack in the game. It can help you a lot in the new Eternal Road, especially since there's not too many rival units, but this is an option and it's a really good option. 72,000 power at max level seems really stupidly strong. I just feel like its attack power is just a little bit lower. You could put an attack pilot to kind of equalize it out, but yeah. Beam Saber 3900 at max power. This is all max level, by the way. I'm looking at max level. You could, put it at level 1 to see its stats. Decent. Vulcan gun. Pretty low power, but low energy. Not really worth it though. It's an option. Beam Saber EX. Level 1. It's honestly on the lower end, but it does inflict damage taken from physical weapons up 25% on the enemy. And at max level, it is up to 35. Let me just check real quick. The Atomic Bazooka is physical, so relatively speaking, if you use a support attack with this Gato, or any supporter for that matter, hit them with the EX if they are in range. The only drawback is that this is range 1 to 3, so keep that in mind. But if you do that, he will have physical weapon down 35% or 25%, and then you can hit them next turn with either the Atomic Bazooka, which is 6600 at max power, or hit them with the Atomic Bazooka and it will do even more damage. So that is an option if you're running a supporter. I think running an attacker is the way to go depending on the mission. I've been running an attacker on Eternal Road, and while I can't do the combo of the EX, every unit, every enemy from that mission one-shots me either way, so I don't know why the damage values on those enemies are just so stupidly high, to the point where I can't even survive one hit, but I don't really think it's worth it. I just think it's, you might as well put an attack pilot and then just shoot out the atomic bazooka. But that's just my experience for doing the Eternal Road on Expert. Atomic bazooka, it only has 4 range and only 4 range, so keep that in mind when you are using it. It does have kind of a weird spreadsheet, you can't really check it here, but it does inflict defense down 25 at max level and 15% on level 1, but it is a heavy hitter if you're not using the EX, if you're not in range of the EX as well. The range on this suit is a little bit wacky, don't really particularly like that, but its map attack, it's holy grail. It's what's gonna shine. You got one hit, but it's going to clear out a lot of enemies. So yeah, really good at crowd control, but you really need to aim your shot. Unit ability, increase max energy by 15% is decent. Increase defense by 5%, kind of a waste. And increase critical damage by 5. These skills, unit abilities, not gonna lie, they're kind of meh. Like almost extremely mid. I really wish they didn't include such meh options. Like critical damage boost. What's the point? Nothing here has a crit bonus other than the atomic bazooka, and it's only a 5% damage up, so I think the unit abilities are really, I'm just gonna say it out loud, they're kind of ass, not even gonna lie, but I guess that is a way to balance it out. Here is Gato. Let's go to his pilot. He has stupidly high range. I think, is it more than Kira? I think it's slightly more than Kira, and he's like the top attacker in the game at the moment. 822 range is really good. Melee is decent, Awaken is meh, defense is decent, and reaction is decent. Yeah, he has really high attack. Character skills, during the next 5 to activate the effect, increase accuracy by 100, meh. Save energy consumption by 25%, that's solid. And then restore energy by 60, also really solid. I don't really know why they think that just because you use the nuke, you're like completely done for, all your energy is gone. You still have plenty of energy even after using the nuke, the map attack I mean, so I really don't like how it's just all energy, and then save energy. He'll be fine even while using the map attack. That's his main thing. So I don't really get why they made him so like kind of, I wouldn't say like throwaway skills, especially the GPO2's unit ability, but like these skills, especially lock on, they're not that good. Pretty throwaway skills, not gonna lie. But the energy saving is good. It's just the problem is I just don't think it's that necessary. I would have preferred like an attack boost up or something. It feels a little bit meh. Support attack, support level 5. Reduce on weapon energy consumption by 25%. That's really good. Again, they are weird. What's the word? It's like they're all like, oh man, you're gonna run out of energy so fast if you use that map attack. You're really not. You're going to still have plenty after you use it, but it's just so much energy, save energy consumption for this suit and the pilot. I just think it's a little bit unnecessary. Increase range level 5 by 25%. That's pretty much the only damage up he's getting, so keep that in mind. Zeom, piloting pilot, reduce damage taken from own weapons by 15% and reduce own energy weapon consumption by 15%. There it is again. Why does he need to save up so much energy? It's not like the GPO2 doesn't have any. It has 362 right off the bat with its pilot. You don't need to save that much energy. The atomic bazooka, even at level 1, it's still only 85. That's not that much. You're not losing that much energy, maybe like 20% at best. Same with the EX attack as well. It's not that much either. I feel like, and the atomic bazooka as well. I feel like the priorities are a little bit weird with this suit. I feel like they were really scared of the atomic bazooka map attack, so they wanted to they didn't want to make it tanky, but they didn't want to make it strong with its attack either. You have low attack as well for a supporter. Let me just go to a different unit, a different supporter. Once it loads, let's check out the O, I guess. As you can see, the O has like 700 more. Let's check another UR supporter. You get the gist though. I feel like they were just really scared of the map attack. Same, Freedom has a little bit lesser, but the Freedom is a lot tankier, more versatile. So I give it to the Freedom on that one. But yeah, I feel like they were just really scared of its gimmick, the map attack. You can kind of go through it by putting a strong attacker pilot, but yeah, it feels very weird. It feels like it wasn't completely necessary. Even its movement was kind of affected too. It only has 4 instead of 5, and with its low range attacks, that might hurt it a little bit. It's good, don't get me wrong. The atomic bazooka is pretty much made for the Eternal Road mission. It's going to help you a lot, but there's just so many weird, like kind of bad abilities and whatnot to compensate for the map attack. Like they were really scared to make this thing an attacker, and they were scared to make it have too much defense. So it's just kind of in the middle. It doesn't excel at anything, but it's not bad at anything either. And like I said, I'm pretty sure they just did that because of the atomic bazooka to balance it out. So the GP02, in my opinion, it's really good, really solid for clearing, you know, a lot of enemies on the map. But after you use it, it's kind of just meh. It loses its value pretty fast. Still a really solid unit, but after you use the map attack, I don't think it's going to perform as well as any other UR supporter. It just loses its value after that. It just has a lower movement, lower range, and really wacky abilities that save energy that it really doesn't really have to do. But yeah, that's the GP02. Let's go on to the Char Zaku 2. This one's going to be a lot more simple. It's also non-limited, so keep that in mind. Really high attack for its unit abilities, that's for sure. Lowish health, but that's the go-to for attackers. Decent energy, 5 movement, as it should. It's a fast boy. Kick, just kick. 4900 at max power, closely guarded the enemy, greater weapon up to 12%. That's actually really solid, but the range is decent. It's alright. Good alternative though. MS Bazooka Type A2, 4200 physical, 2 to 4 range. I'm just going to read the max stats, by the way. I think it's just a lot more easier that way. Decent option. MS Anti-Ship Rifle, also this has the 4-4 range. Power is really high. Energy, I mean, it's solid, but energy is 30, which is also decent. And then the MS Anti-Ship Rifle EX, which is a physical special attack. If you have the Gato supporter with you, it's probably going to hit pretty hard. Range 1 to 4, 69, 60 power, har, and then 48 energy. Absolute hit with more remaining HP, higher weapon power level 6. A higher remaining HP as the greater weapon power increases up to 17%. That is really good. I love units that do that. You don't want to get hit, you want to one-shot the enemy. This is going to hit like a truck, especially if you're running the Gato supporter as well. Probably switch the Gato pilot, honestly, for, I don't know, like Soleta, who has a lock-on range up. hit them with the EX, and then use this, and it's going to hit like a truck. That is 35% damage taken increase, and this thing is going to hit really hard. I think they're kind of made for each other a little bit, but I wouldn't say GPO2 is necessary. There is other units that reduce physical defense down, but this guy is going to hit really hard. He's a heavy hitter. He wants to one shot, and that is honestly pretty solid. Unit ability, increase in attack by 15%, really good. When hip is full, increase on attack by 30%, also really good. And increase mobility by 5%, which can be argued that's going to be good for PvP whenever it comes back. Yeah, this guy looks really damn solid. He's already getting a 45% attack power up as long as your hip is full, which obviously you want to keep it full in the first place. And then if you're using the EX, you'll have the 17% at max level, so that's already a 62% damage increase. I believe I'm doing the math there. 62%. Yeah, that's going to hit really hard, and like I said, with a supporter that reduces physical defense like GPO2 or any other unit that does it, he's going to hit really hard, and his range is also really solid, so it's not like he's going to get caught. Yeah, really strong unit. Let's check out the pilot. His range is 602. His melee is actually higher, even though his unit is a ranged unit. He only has like one melee attack. 698 awaken, really good. Defense 537, decent. Reaction 704, really high. It really feels like he was made for PvP whenever it comes back. I think I said that in the first initial teaser trailer. Attack burst level 4. Increase damage dealt to enemies by 20%, really good. Boost range, affecting increased range by 1, also really good. And then sway during the next fight, increasing range by 1. This is probably one of the best pilots I've ever seen. This is what Kira should have been. The Strike Freedom, Kira pilot. He has absolutely everything he needs. This is probably the best attacker spreadsheet I've seen. He doesn't have the best stats, but in terms of abilities, I mean, he has good stats, don't get me wrong, but Kira still does more damage by like at least 100. He has more 100 ranged. I don't know why they gave him more melee than ranged, but this is probably the best character skill I've seen on a pilot in the whole game for an attacker. Increase own damage by 15%, new type, reaction by 20%, and then when piloting the origin, which I'm pretty sure is only like 2 suits, so increase damage dealt to enemy by 15%, increase mobility by 15%. This guy is going to hit hard. Holy hell. In my opinion, I think he's better than the GPO2, even with the map attack. This guy is going to be the guy that kills the bosses, while the GPO2 is going to be the guy that aims for the mobs. GPO2 is a supporter through and through, while this guy is going to hit hard. Let's count every damage dealing effect that he has. 15% here, 15% here. Activate the ability, that's another 50%. And if you're piloting the Zaku 2, which you probably should be, 17% for this, that is a 67%. Another 15%, that's 82. And when your hip is full, that's 112% damage increase when all of the conditions are fulfilled. At least I believe that's how it works. He hits hard. He's going to hit, I think he's almost on par with Strike Freedom in terms of damage. He's hitting stupidly hard, holy hell. And this guy isn't limited either. He's going to be on limited banners. He can spook you. It's unlikely, but he can. Just by doing the math, I believe he is getting a 112% damage increase when everything is set. So 5 mobility, really high attack power, and all the damage dealings and whatnot, all the abilities. yeah, this guy looks stupidly good. I honestly say, is he better than Strike? No, maybe. If his range was 5, then I'd say yes, but his range is only 4. Sure, you can use the pilot ability to increase it to 5, but you know, you really gotta keep track of your character points, your attack burst. You want to save it for that and whatnot. He reminds you a lot of the Easy 8. I think he's just a better Easy 8. He wants to do damage. It's all about doing damage. Yeah, he's basically just a power crept Easy 8, full on damage. Let me just compare real quick to the Strike Freedom, because I am a little curious on that. Or Strike Freedom. Yeah, Strike Freedom has almost around the same attack as well. 2 to 5 range, 66,000 at max level. Further you are from the enemy, 20%, 15%. And then attack burst level 5, sway level 2. Honestly, I think he might be better than the Strike Freedom in terms of damage. In terms of survivability, no. Strike Freedom has a little bit of damage reduction. It might be clutch. But honestly, I think the Char Zaku 2 is like probably the best attacker in the game. Just reading it off these stats right here. And he's not even limited either. Look at those stats at max level. Holy moly. 94. Oh, I was looking at the max. Give me 1 second. 9,400. And then the Strike Freedom is 9,009. So a little bit more. You could argue that Strike Freedom is on a lot more attack, especially One Shot Killer. One Shot Killer is probably the best team at the moment. He does not have that. It's not the best. It's funny how he's in Protagonist. I did not know he's actually in Protagonist, huh? I thought he was on Rivals. Weird. He's going to help you a lot in that mission, by the way. He's going to stomp. But yeah, his teams are not the best. UC series is of course very good. Protagonist is good for the new Eternal Road. Specialized unit is something. Xeon is, these mono-eye specialized units, Xeon aren't really real teams. Unstoppable is kind of a real team if you have the ship, of course. But yeah, he is stupidly good, at least from what I'm reading on paper. Like, I think he's better than GPO2 in terms of like versatility and all that. He wants to one-shot and all that. You want to buff up his attack too as well. I think he can also use the modification for 10% UC series as long, and the Protagonist modification as well if you can get that. So yeah, he's going to be stupidly good, really solid, really going to help you out in that Eternal Road mission. These two units are made for their respective Eternal Road missions. If you look at the maps, the Protagonist one, there's not as much enemies, there's a lot more single target bosses. It's like they were made a little bit scummy, but you know, it's not like it's impossible. There's a lot of good Protagonist suits, but he is going to help you extremely well in that mission. GPO2 is going to help you in the rival mission as well. These missions, Eternal Road missions, were made for the new units, just the way it is. You know, they want you to get the new units. But yeah, really damn good, at least from what I'm reading on paper. Char Zaku 2 and GPL2 is really good. But after you do this map attack, it's a little bit, you know, just there. I guess it just exists after you use it. So that is the URs. Let's talk about the SSRs. There's also the ship, which is test type. Just an FYI, it's not really worth it. There's not too many test types. There's some solid test types here, don't get me wrong, but there is not that much. Mostly the alts at their full power and whatnot, and then the new SSRs. You can make a solid team out of it, don't get me wrong, but I don't think you should be chasing this this ship. I just don't think there's enough units. Like, there's only 2 free supporters At least from what I see right here. There is not too many. I don't have every unit, so there's not that many units. It's still a solid ship, but I just don't think there's that much units. But yeah, it is an option. Easy 8, really good. I feel like the Char Zaku 2 just completely power crept it. It's basically a better version, but it's still really solid. Let's talk about the Gundam Mark II Prototype Unit 0. Comes with a free pilot, so always nice to have the variety. Let's just look at its weapon abilities right here. Prototype Beam Saber. Inflict damage taken from beam weapons up 15%. Head Vulcan, nothing. And then Prototype Beam Rifle. Inflict defense down 25%, 15% on the enemy. Range 2 to 4. Increase max energy by 10%, increase accuracy by 5%. He's really solid. He's decent. He's not gonna blow your mind. He's not amazing. Like, he's just there. His stats are also very solid. He's at max limit break. I think he's okay. He's not gonna, like I said, blow your mind or anything. Decent terrain as well. He's just kind of there. His pilot, it's always nice to have a new pilot as well. Let's look at his pilot. Lock on level 1. I really don't like increased accuracy. It's usually never useful. Boost range is pretty good, so that's an option. Abilities. Support type, energy consumption by 15%, decent. Cyber new type level 2, increase MP by 5. I always like MP skill, so that's decent. And then Titans, increase damage dealt to enemies by 10%, reduce damage taken by 10% when he uses a Titan suit. There's not a lot of them, so you're probably going to run, his Mark II with him. Stats are very balanced, pretty mid defense. Range is balanced, melee is balanced. Seems like a very solid unit, not game breaking, not needed in my opinion, but he is there. It's an option. But yeah, that is the Mark II. Decent, solid, not bad, not great. Gundam GP01 chip open armor. I know a lot of people don't know about this. I didn't. It honestly looks really cool. Here's the let's go no max level. Let's talk about his character and abilities. Beam Saber, inflict attack down 10%, solid. Vulcans, 2800 power, decent. 3300 for the Beam Saber. And then the 180mm cannon, 4100 power and range 3 to 4. Range can be a little bit tricky, but it's an option. And then inflict attack down 20% on the enemy. I believe it will be 30% fully maxed out. Check it real quick. Yes, it is. Attack down 30%. That is really solid for a tank. Its range is a little bit meh, but it is an option. Abilities. Increase defense by 10%. Always good. When hit is 50% or below, increase own defense by 10%. In my opinion, in this game, just from my experience, your defenders in harder missions like Eternal Road, they either lose half their HP and then they can only take one more hit and then they die. They only got 2 hits at best. This 10% is not really going to help a lot, let's be honest. Usually it's either 2 hits and they're dead, or 1 hit and they're like at 40% health. And I doubt the 10% is going to, save the unit. They're still going to die. So I think this ability is a little bit meh, especially on harder stages. I don't really see it being helpful, but I guess you never know. It could be very clutch. Physical range damage reduction level 3. When the enemy attacks with a physical range weapon, reduce all damage taken by 30%. Very, very specific. For the Eternal Road, does this count as protagonist? Let me see the details actually. UC Gundam protagonist. Yeah. Every enemy from the protagonist Eternal Road does use physical weapons, so I guess that can be pretty helpful. Especially if you dupe this thing, it could be pretty useful. Yeah. in the Eternal Road mission, the Zactmos are pretty annoying. The Goobs and the Doms are pretty annoying. They all use physical, so I can see this guy being useful there. If you got dupes. At no dupes, I think he'll hold his own, but I wouldn't, pray and hope that he can, carry you. He'll take a couple hits depending on the pilot, but I can see him being useful. I think it's a lot more useful than the Gundam Mark II prototype. That unit is just kind of there, I guess. Let me check its tags as well. Titans, Lightning Fast, Gundam, Test Type, UC series. Yeah, it's just kind of there. I think the chip open armor might help you in the Eternal Road mission. Solid, decent. I think a lot more value than the Mark II. So let's move on to the Giffen Zombie ship, Large Machine. Who's even in that? Yeah, they're just all mobile armors. I guess if you wanted to run a mobile armor team, like the Justice, that could also help. I know a lot of people, well not a lot, but some people are running full Justice, fully duped teams for the Rivals mission because of its map attack. Its map attack is really solid. I guess you could run this ship with them. It's only an AP 18%, but still, it could be useful, I suppose, if you want to run a large machine. A very niche team, but I can see it working. It would be pretty funny. But yeah, that is every single new unit in this banner. Keep in mind, Seed Destiny is coming out in a month from now, so while I do say you will probably get a lot of value from this banner, especially if you want to beat the Eternal Road, it's not necessary, of course. You can still beat them, but these guys are just going to make it a lot more easier. I think you should roll if you want to focus on those missions and if you really like the units. But if you want to save for Seed Destiny, that's also perfectly understandable. So in conclusion, I do think you should roll on this banner, but only if you are focused on the Eternal Road mission and if you like the units and you want more variety and whatnot. Because I think the Char Zaku 2 is really good. I might say it's the best attacker in the game, but that might be a little cope because I don't have it, obviously. So just on paper, it seems like a very strong heavy hitter. But yeah, that is about it. Tell me your opinions. Am I wrong? Am I right? Up to you to decide. I think you should roll, but just keep in mind Seed Destiny is coming out, and with that there'll probably be a new Eternal Road missions. So, and you'll probably need the Destiny for that as well. It'll make your life easier anyway. But yeah, I think I forgot to mention, I talk about the Eternal Road Rival a lot, the mission of it, but I didn't really go through all the list, just to show you the amount of units, options you have. Obviously you don't have as much as Protagonist. Protagonist just has a lot more. Here are the rival tags. Hyperion's a freebie, so you can use that. Justice, if you have it, really good defender. Hyperion, still very good defender. Salzabi, really good attacker. The O, if you have it, decent supporter. And then GPO2 is going to be really good at clearing mobs. I know there's other units with like map attacks, because it seems like the go-to strat is map attacks. You can make like a full Justice Gundam team, and if you have the Amatsu, that's also going to help you a lot because it also has a map attack. That seems like the strat for the mission, just map attacks. This guy's going to help you a lot. Not as strong map attack, obviously. 3200 at max power is meh, but it's still going to help a lot depending on your pilot and whatnot. So I would not say you need the GPO2, but it's still going to help a lot. You don't need the Char Zaku 2 for the Protagonist one, but it is going to help a lot since those, like I said, those maps are made for the new units. But yeah, that is basically about it, guys. Take care.